Hey guys, in my first video, I got a little bit of feedback and I really appreciate that. I'm going to take that into consideration and I'm going to try and get right into it. Today we're talking about the Geonosians. If you don't have the Geonosians, they're an amazing squad. You actually need them for Rise of the Empire, Relic 7. A lot of people don't want to do that though. That's understandable because they're not really a top tier team, but they are a good team. Great for cleanups, and we're just going to get right into it right now. So coming in first, we have the Geonosian Brood Alpha. She is the typical lead. Now, last time I went through and I made custom. Mod sets like for the most ideal, best you can get. I don't think that's very interesting because I don't think that a lot of people are going to do that. So I don't want to waste your time. So I'm going to use what I use and show you how it works in Squad Arena, and we'll see how things go down. So on the Geonosian Brood Alpha, we have her basic, which is Shield Bash. It is a buff dispel. She actually has two buff dispels. Her 1 and her 2 both are buff dispels, and they're amazing. So her 2 is dispel all buffs on all enemies. Deal physical damage to all enemies and expose them for 2 turns, then remove 15% turn meter from debuffed enemies. So this is amazing. You want that, especially for teams that start off with stealth and stuff like that. If you're trying to take out one certain unit, and these guys, of course, if anyone knows Geonosians, they love to assist, and you get lots of debuffs stacking up. So her third ability is probably one of her best. This is her cleanse and her heal, and it is dispel all debuffs on all Geonosian allies. Summon a Geonosian brute to battle if the ally slot is available. Now, at the start of the battle, she does start with this unit, and this unit does this unit's stats are based off of her stats. So we'll get to the stats in a minute. Or if any Geonosian Brood Alpha is already present, he gains critical damage up, offense up for 2 turns. Then all Geonosian allies gain 15% turn meter and recover 35% health and protection. Moving on to her lead. Don't do this again. So, Geonosian Swarm. Geonosian allies have plus 15,000 max health, max protection. It's massive. And plus 50% health steal. Geonosian allies recover 3% protection whenever they use their basic abilities. And Geonosian allies deal 10% more damage for each buffed enemy. That is her lead. There is some situations where people use Poggle the Lesser as a lead because of his offense up. Or I think he gets 30% offense. I think a lot of people use that for cleanup. But I think if you want to use a genuine Geonosian team, it's going to be the Brood Alpha. She is the queen. Queen's Will. Geonosian Brood Alpha has plus 60% tenacity. All Geonosian allies have the Hive Mind buff, while Geonosian Brood Alpha is active, which can't be dispelled or prevented when another Queen's Will. Geonosian Brood Alpha has 60% tenacity. All Geonosian allies have Hive Mind buff, while Geonosian Brood Alpha is alive, which can't be dispelled or prevented. When another Geonosian ally is defeated, reduce the cooldown of conscription by 1. At the start of the encounter, summon a Geonosian Brute who taunts for 1 turn. Hive Mind. Assist whenever another Geonosian ally uses an ability during his turn, dealing 50% less damage, equalize health and protection, and Hive Mind allies whenever an enemy uses an ability. So basically, anytime anyone uses any ability, all Geonosians, assuming they don't have days, are going to come and assist. This is great because especially for ability block and tenacity down and whatnot, which some of the other Geonosians have in their basic. And ideally, you land the tenacity down before the ability block. And that is huge because that means that they can't use their abilities; they can only use basics. And the brute is pretty simple. He's just a tank. He doesn't really do anything crazy. He's really just there to eat hits. And whenever he dies, of course, conscription, the cooldown for conscription is reduced, allowing him to come back a lot faster. If he's ever down, no matter what, you always want to use conscription whenever it comes around to Geonosian Brood Alpha's turn, just because he's too important to the team. He's the only tank. If you start losing those other Geonosians, you're in trouble. We're gonna go ahead and move on. Oh, sorry. Also, I went ahead and I did health and tenacity on my GBA simply because the Geonosian Brute that comes with GBA benefits off of her stats, and he is in fact a tank. He's taking all the hits usually, so you want him to stay alive as long as possible. Also, don't forget their health equalizes, so it wouldn't be the worst thing, I think, to have maybe protection in the place of this. But I think that you're going to benefit a lot more from having health and a little bit of tenacity to maybe hold those debuffs, and you don't want to catch a buff immunity on your tank. Moving on. Geonosian Spy, the Whacker is what we call him, because he whacks people out of the battle. So his first ability is Feint. Deal physical damage to target enemy, and Geonosian Spy gains critical chance up for 2 turns. This ability cannot be evaded. Very simple. Silent Strike. This is the ability. Deal physical damage to target enemy. If Geonosian Spy is stealth when this ability is used, dispel all status effects on himself and the target and deal 40% more damage for each effect dispelled this way. This ability cannot be evaded. Hive Mind bonus. Inflict evasion down on target enemy for 2 turns after all effects have been dispelled. So basically, let's say you have someone who has a lot of buffs on them, and let's say your Geonosian Spy has a lot of buffs or debuffs, any status effect really. He's gonna hit with this ability really hard. This is almost an execute in a lot of situations. This guy actually does most of the killing on the Geonosians team. And moving on to Illicit Intel. Grant all Separatist allies potency up for 2 turns, and then expose all enemies for 2 turns. This ability cannot be evaded. Hive Mind bonus. Reduce Silent Strike's cooldown by 1. What I tend to do is I use this ability before I use Silent Strike. I kind of hold on to Silent Strike until I know I can get a kill off of it. Simply because I think you don't want to waste Silent Strike. You want to make sure you get that kill whenever you use it. And Hive Tactics. Hive Tactics. Geonosian Spy gains stealth for 3 turns at the start of each encounter, and whenever he scores a critical hit during their turn. Whenever a Geonosian ally inflicts a debuff on an enemy, Geonosian Spy gains 35% turn meter. Whenever an enemy is exposed, they lose stealth if they had it. So, I've noticed a lot of times when I use Illicit Intel, where he kind of, he scopes out the haters, he immediately gets a turn sometimes. And then when he gets that turn, he's now inflicted not only debuffs, and he's buffed himself, he's also got Silent Strike ready. So this is the time when Silent Strike might be viable, even early in the encounter. And for the Geonosian Spy, I went ahead and I put crit damage mods. I got some whack mods on him right now. I think because I was moving some mods around for Rise of the Empire. I think that's what's going on there. That's why I have that random speed mod and potency mod. But basically you want critical hit damage because he's going to crit, and he's going to crit hard. and you want it to hit really hard. This is a character who you should, you know, if you're relicking up your Geonosians, but you're not overly interested in them, I would suggest maybe investing a little bit more relics into this guy, considering he has a great ship, and ships are affected by your relics. But that's all I have for the spy. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so our next unit is Poggle the Lesser. I love this guy. Basically, his first ability is Martial Doom. This ability has an ability block on it, which is a big deal. Everyone loves ability block. Deal physical damage to target enemy with an 80% chance to inflict ability block for 1 turn. This attack deals 10% more damage for each debuffed enemy. Now, Poggle does not do a lot of damage, so that is not that big of a deal, but, you know, more damage, fine. But really, you want that ability block. That is his big thing. And his 2 is Warlord's Resolve, which is a cleanse. Poggle dispels all debuffs on all allies and gains 4% turn meter for each debuff dispelled. Grant all Separatist allies offense up for 3 turns, then call another target ally to assist. The offense up is great. The buff dispel is also great. The turn meter is also great. I don't know why this team really fell off. It seems like there's teams out now that are so much better than the Geonosians, and I hate it because they have so many ways to earn turn meter and so many ways to do a lot of damage and stop the other team from doing damage. But there's so many things that can counter them, which is, I find it disappointing. So I am glad that he did get an Omicron as of now, which I have not invested in personally because I am trying to invest more in my guild. But let's move on to his leader ability, which is Archduke. Separatist allies have plus 30% offense. I was talking about this earlier. Droid allies recover 10% health whenever they attack out a turn or damage a target locked enemy. So a lot of times what I'll see is I'll see Poggle the Lesser, but they might take out like Geonosian Soldier, I think is what it is they'll take out. And they'll put in Droidica because of Droidica's damage. And they'll use him for like a cleanup, but you would never, I don't think you would ever use this lead with a full Geonosian team. I think that GBA is going to give you a much better outcome. Moving on to Hive Tactics. Poggle has plus 5% evasion for each other ally with Hive Mind. Separatist allies without Hive Mind have plus 25% offense and gain an additional 25% offense for each defeated ally, I think. Let me scroll slowly, please. I think that says for each defeated ally. Geonosian allies remove 1% turn meter from target enemy whenever they attack out of turn. We're not going to get into the Omicron right now. That might be for another video if you guys are interested. So like I said, obviously this is meant to be used with droids. I don't use them for that, and I never have. So I can't suggest it for people. So for Poggle, I did speed because of his 2 mainly, because that cleanse is really nice. Usually Poggle is going second for me, I think. And let's say someone throws out a daze. A daze will shut down Geonosians real quick. You do not want them getting dazed. So the best thing you can have is Poggle dropping that Warlord's Resolve to get rid of that daze, give everyone offense up, and get that team rolling. And then of course I throw in 2 little health mods in there too, just you know, keep them alive a little bit longer. Let's move on to our Geonosian Soldier. Right here. Geonosian Soldier is a pretty simple character. So his first attack is Aggressive Advance. Deal physical damage to target enemy and inflict tenacity down for 2 turns. So on this guy, for some reason, I don't know why, I have a lot of crit mods on him. I don't... Like I said, I think it may be because of Rise of the Empire around the corner. I've been moving some mods around. So normally I would have a lot of potency on this guy. So please ignore this. I would put potency on this guy, and potency with maybe a little bit of speed. He doesn't need to be crazy fast. Really, he's here to get that tenacity down, to make sure Poggle's getting those ability blocks and those exposes from the spy. So you want potency on this guy. I'm sorry I had the wrong mods here. I should have looked more into that there. But moving on to Swarm. Deal physical damage to target enemy and call random ally to assist. If the assisting ally is Geonosian, both attackers deal 25% more damage. Hive mind bonus. Instead, select ally who assists. So for this one, you always call Spy, because Spy is probably going to hit harder than anyone else on the team, even with his basic. And then Hive Tactics. Geonosian allies have plus 15% critical chance. Geonosian soldier gains 25% turn meter when scoring a critical hit. Geonosian allies have plus 35% defense and penetration when they have Hive Mind bonus. So, Geonosian allies have plus 15% critical chance. Geonosian soldier gains 25% turn meter when he scores a critical hit. I still don't think it's best to have that crit chance on there. Like, yeah, it's good to have him gain that 25% turn meter a lot. That, I guess that would make him take a lot of turns, because 25% turn meter is a lot of turn meter. But I think, in my opinion, I would value the tenacity down a lot better. I want to make sure I'm getting that tenacity down. Let me see if I actually have a potency cross here. I do not. So it looks like I may have just slapped some mods on him simply because of ROTE. He also has a ship that's very important, so relics are important for this soldier. But we're going to move on real quick to Sun Fac, who is another tank, if I believe. Yes, he is. So Sun Fac can actually remove turn meter. He's pretty nice. So his first ability is Browbeat. Bromeat. Deal physical damage to target enemy and dispel all buffs on them. Sun Fac recovers 20% of his max health if any buffs were dispelled this way. So there's another heal. A lot of healing going around in this team. Subjugate. Now this is his turn meter removal. Accepted to taunt. So you got to be careful with this one. Sun Fac taunts for 2 turns and inflicts offense down on target enemy for 2 turns. Then removes 40% turn meter from target enemy. This attack cannot be evaded. So I do love to remove turn meter. I think we all do. But I don't know if I want to draw fire from my unit that can be revived. So I don't use this all the time, but there are situations where it's necessary to use it. So let's say I'm fighting, I don't think this team could ever beat a Maul team, but let's say I'm fighting Maul, and I know Bo-Katan is about to throw her grenades and do a daze, and I don't have a cleanse ready. This is the time that I might use this to stop her, to pull back that turn meter if I don't have an ability block on her from Poggle, to stop her from using that ability before I get a chance to get an ability block on her. So I think this is a very situational ability. I don't want someone who's new to the Geonosians to get in here and just start smashing specials and actually, mess themselves up, because sometimes smashing specials can actually hurt you. Moving on to Spiteful Strike. Deal physical damage to target enemy and stagger them for 2 turns if the target was already debuffed before this attack. Also blind and daze them for 2 turns. So this is a stagger. So what stagger does, if you don't know, when you stagger someone, next time you deal damage to them, it removes all turn meter. That is awesome. This is another situation with the Bo-Katan thing. This is something you might want to hold on to in case you need it, especially with blind and daze. You might not want someone to assist. You might want that daze. You might need a blind. Someone's about to drop something nasty on you and you want them to miss. So sometimes with Sun Fac, you want to hold on to some of his abilities. And Hive Tactics. Sunfac has plus 50% counter chance. In addition, whenever he attacks outside of his turn, he has plus 25% potency and inflicts critical chance down for 2 turns. Hive Mind bonus: when Sunfac taunts, he gains defense up, health up, and health steal for 2 turns. And other Geonosian allies gain those buffs for 2 turns whenever he loses taunt, which is, again, his taunt is very situational. I rarely use it. I put a lot of health on him in case I do have to taunt, because I want him to stay alive. And just like the last 3, he has a ship, so relics are worth it. So, in my opinion, let's say you had a whole bunch of relic mats and you love the Geonosians, I would make sure to get the guys with the ships a little bit higher if you can. Because those ships are really important for Malevolence. Malevolence can counter a lot of things. In some situations, they can even counter Executor. So that is about all we got, I think, guys. Yeah, we've gone over everyone here. I just want to say something to you guys. I am grateful that you guys came into Discord. And you came into, I think I had like 1 person comment. It's a new channel. I don't expect to get super famous. I'm not going to ask for likes because I think if you like it, you'll like it. I don't want to be that guy. I do want to say I would really appreciate if you guys would also continue to critique me and tell me what you don't like, and tell me what you do like. I want to know what you do like too, so I can keep doing it, and I want to know what you don't like so I can not do that. And I'm also very interested in knowing what kind of content you guys would like to see. I have a pretty large account, and I want people to get to experience things. I want to look at y'all's rosters and engage with you guys, and I would really appreciate it if you guys would just kind of talk to me a little bit. All right, and that's all I got for you guys. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And I will see you next time. Bye.